Hey everybody, and welcome to Action Figure Breakdown. This is episode number 15, and I'm Seth here with you again. I want to go ahead and give a big shout out to all our new subscribers. Thanks for subscribing and watching, guys, and checking out our Instagram and Facebook page as well. Today we will be talking about a few different figures from the Captain Marvel wave. I'm super excited to talk about those. It's the Kree Century Build-A-Figure wave. I do have 4 new figures from that wave we'll be checking out. Also, I want to remind everybody about our giveaway for this big guy, the 10-inch T-Rex here, the Funko Pop. We'll be giving him away, doing the live drawing on Sunday, probably around 4:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. The contest will close Saturday, February the 9th at 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time. So remember to get your entries in on our Facebook page, Instagram, or YouTube, guys. I will be just taking your names and putting them in the randomizer like we usually do, and then we'll pick a winner. But today, let's take a look at these figs we're going to be looking at real quick. So we've got a couple different figures. As you guys can see, this is the wave right here. We've already taken a look at Jenna's Veil. That character right number there, 6 on the end for you guys. And then today we're going to be taking a look at the Gargoyle, Yon-Rogg, one of the Captain Marvels, number 3 there, and then Talos. I've been unable to find a Nick Fury in the wild at the moment, so we're just going to have to wait to finish our Kree Century. He's pretty close to done, but we're missing an arm. So, and then I don't yet have the headed Captain Marvel from that wave, the first figure without the BAF part in that wave. I'm kind of debating on whether or not I want to complete this wave or not. I'm not a huge fan of the MCU figs. I feel like they're kind of recycled molds. But Captain Marvel is a special character in my heart, so I'm leaning towards finishing this wave off. We're also waiting for a Target exclusive Captain Marvel with some fireballs and a head variant. And there's also going to be a Walmart exclusive Star Force Captain Marvel where she's in her green and blue costume from the movie. So we'll be taking a look at those if we get our hands on them. Again, Captain Marvel holds a special place in my heart, so hopefully we'll get those when they come out, when they release. The Target one's not set to release until Valentine's Day weekend, I believe. So, but let's go ahead and take a look at the first figure of the 4 we're going to be taking a look at today. And we'll start out with the comic guy right away, the Gray Gargoyle. So there's our Gray Gargoyle. He comes with the Kree Century head. Is the BAF part for that guy. And this is a pretty cool figure from the comics. He's a Frenchman. He turns people to stone. This is just kind of a cool looking character. And honestly, the way they did him, it's right out of the comics. They did a cool kind of made his body concrete, but they gave him, in order to give him that concrete look, you can see he's kind of peppered with some black glitter there, it looks like, or something like that. It doesn't really have the shine of glitter, but it's got kind of the texture look of it. Kind of gives the gray plastic a nice kind of cool sandy look. Gives it the concrete feel. The mold on the cape, as you guys can see, is real stunning. The lines are real nice. He's also got this kind of bent or crack here, because again, he's stone. The head on this guy, the detail and paint is excellent. He's got, let's see if we can get a little bit better light on him real quick. So there we go, guys. So his mask is really nicely put on. He's got just the eye mask. A little bit of detail here, if I can get it for you guys, is the mustache is fantastic on this guy. It is, honestly, this is one of those figures that, like I said, let's see if we can pop the head off and get a good headshot. This is one of those figures, guys, they really, the molding on this is just fantastic, in my opinion. And if you wanted to, I feel like this is a good head mold, the way the haircut is. And the plastic doesn't seem to be a bad style to do a paint over. And I feel like you could do a paint over maybe like J. Jonah Jameson. So if people are out there still looking for a JJ head, you go ahead and shave that mask a little bit, give him some paint. You got a nice JJ head right there. Keep the mustache too. So anyway, so back to the figure, guys. In terms of articulation, this cape is kind of neat. It's got 2 shoulder straps here, which is kind of cool, so it's not going to come off. It could, I'm sure, if you straighten out the arms or pop them out through the hot water method we've talked about before. but I don't plan on doing that. The cape isn't super long, so it doesn't really affect his ability to stand, which is super nice. And then we've got, let's talk about his articulation. So the head is pretty standard, up and down. We've got the ball and socket swivel here. Shoulders, pretty standard for Marvel Legends males, buck. So let's see, we got the, I haven't really articulated this guy too much, so his joints are a tad stiff. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we'll do the right arm here. But these are, so he's got the pretty standard Marvel Legends articulation for the arm, up and down on that. Bicep pivot, this is a ball and socket as well. Double hinged elbows, yes, we have the standard Marvel Legends double hinged elbow. We've got a nice pivot wrist again. So he's got the wrist joint here as well. So the hand will pivot forward and backwards. He's got one hand for holding stuff and another hand menacingly raised to the sky. But let's see. Leg articulation, we've got thigh pivot, which is nice. Good hip joint action there. We've got the double hinge knee, which is pretty standard for Marvel Legend on the male. This guy does have shin pivot, which is nice. So these shins aren't just painted, they're actually molded. Really like this blue paint. It stands out really nicely. For this guy, they did toes. So he's got the gargoyle feet instead of regular, like, boots. Not quite sure how I feel about that since he is actually wearing boots, but again, he's a stone statue figure, so this is pretty cool nonetheless. He's got the Marvel Legends ankle pivot and the back and forth. So pretty standard figure here, guys. I like having him in the collection. He fits my rogues gallery over here pretty nicely. So yeah, super excited to have Great Gargoyle. Another villain we're going to talk about in this wave was, as you guys saw, Talos. So Talos is honestly, he's the figure that has me on the fence in terms of MCU figs. Not a huge MCU guy, but we don't have a lot of Skrulls for comic figs. There are some Toy Biz ones that I've seen, Super Skrull, which is super expensive. He runs close to the same price as Galactus and the Toy Biz Sentinel Build-A-Figures. And then we've also got a couple of other Skrull style figs. I believe there's an Electra Skrull, but again, Toy Biz line, or maybe early Hasbro Legends line. So the molds aren't exactly my favorite. However, when you see the preview for Captain Marvel, you really are kind of stunned at how close to the comic the Skrulls look. And then they did the figure, so we have Talos here. And honestly, this is really fantastic. This is pretty close to a comic look as well. He does kind of have the molding on the head, very similar to the movie, which is pretty nice. So that's super cool. It's cool paint as well on the top of his head, kind of gives him a neat little hairline there. Very reptilian looking fingers. We've got one gloved hand, one ungloved hand. He did not come with any hand options or head options. And his cloak here looks like, I haven't taken it off yet, but it looks, so he comes with this neat kind of cloak wrap thing going on here. And as you can see, there's a hole there where there's a couple of places to attach it. Right on the back side here, let's show you guys that. So there are the little nubs to attach it. But it looks like this cloak comes off as well, if you wanted to. Let's pop his head off and see if we can get this bad boy off here. I haven't done this yet. This is going to be interesting. Alright, so I'm not going to take it completely off because it kind of looks like a giant pain in the butt. Again, hot water method, might have to pop a arm socket out to move the cape the way to get it off, which is fine. But let's talk about, so I need to move it a little bit to talk about articulation. So he does have the standard male buck, but again, this cape's going to make it a little, his cloak wrap here is going to make it a little difficult. He does have ab crunch. We've got hip pivot. Heads, as you guys can see, the standard hinge. I don't have the head on. Let's put it back on. Pops on pretty nicely. Cool. Standard Marvel Legends arms in terms of articulation. We got the up and down with the shoulder there. Also the swivel, bicep pivot, double hinged elbows for this guy. So that's nice. The hands do the back and forth, which is super cool. And they do have pivot ability. In terms of his lower leg articulation, so we've got thigh pivot, double hinge knees. Does not look like we got a shin pivot here. He's got some almost thigh-high boots going on this mold, which is pretty cool. The details are really good as well. They gave him like side pockets. Now the pockets aren't actually pockets, but they look cool molded on. And then we've got foot pivot here and ankle pivot as well. So that's Talos, guys. So Talos looks like this is a cool scroll. I think he'd fit very well on the shelf with the other comic style figs, and I think he'd blend in with the Fantastic Four crew pretty nice. But I'm pumped for those of you that got it. But anyway, yeah. So this was the figure that made me think that I'm just going to keep the MCU figs instead of just building the Kree figure and then kind of using them for fodder. So anyway, yeah, really like the Skrull fig. The mold's really good. It looks like a comic fig too. It could pass. The paint apps are really nice. The color scheme's done pretty well on it as well. I wish he's maybe like a tad greener for a comic fig, but maybe like that shade of green. Yes, Hulk. Yeah, like a tad darker, but not a lot. Anyway, so cool fig, super cool Talos. Probably gonna put him on the comic shelf eventually. But let's move on to the next figure. So the next figure is a member of Star Force. And he's going to be an important character in the upcoming Captain Marvel movie. Now, we're not sure what actor is going to be playing this character. We think it's Jude Law, but we also think that Jude Law might end up being Mar-Vell, but we don't know if Mar-Vell's even going to be in this movie. So, anyway, this is a cool Star Force fig. So this is the male buck for the Star Force figures, Yon-Rogg, one of the members of Star Force. He's got the cool gun here, and I dig this gun because it's kind of a new pistol mold. It doesn't have the finger hole, which is whatever. They still gave the character a trigger finger, which is super neat. And then we've got this cool, like I said, the pistol mold, it just looks neat. It doesn't look like an old used mold. It's got that cool spacey vibe to it, almost like a Power Ranger gun. And they did give him a trigger finger hand. So he's got one hand for holding the gun, and then one hand for closed-fistedness. Not a whole lot of hand or head options with these guys. Which kind of stinks for this Captain Marvel wave. You're hoping for more accessories. But it's the first wave of a movie wave, and I feel like that's standard. Although I don't collect the MCU figs, so maybe I'm wrong. But anyway, all right, guys, so that's Yon-Rogg. Talk about articulation real quick. Head swivel, that's on a hinge. Got the ab crunch, as you guys can see. This one's got kind of a cool ab crunch. So in the back, this is kind of a narrow ab crunch, but it has a cool, like, again, the molding on like we did on the Iron Man. So the molding goes all the way through on the ab crunch, and backwards as well. The paint applies all the way back, so that's super nice. He's got hip pivot, and as you guys can see, the belt isn't molded on either, which is super. Ooh, that's neat. I didn't know that. All right, so that's pretty cool. So you can remove the belt if you want to customize them a little bit. I like the way it looks though. It's a good looking belt. The paint apps are nice. The buckle's pretty solid. We've got thigh pivot on this guy. Let's see. There we go. So we got some thigh pivot action. We've got shin pivot on him with these boots, so that's super cool. As you guys can see, our shins are pivoting there. We've got double hinge knees, and these knees are made to look like knee pads, which is super cool. They blend in real well with the figure. These feet are huge. Like, he's got giant feet. Nice base to stand on, up and down. Again, they didn't do armor flare out above the shoe, so you get a nice amount of movement. They actually gave this shoe, it looks like a tongue, which is kind of cool. We've got ankle pivot, which is neat, up and down. All right, so that's our Yon-Rogg figure, guys. Really dig the head mold on this guy. He kind of has like the pseudo mohawk going on with this fig, which is going to explain Carol's a little bit. I like the helmet. As you guys can see, my ab crunch is a little loose, so he's shaking. But overall, the paint on this figure is fantastic. The lines are sharp. The green paint's a nice metallic. He's a really good-looking fig. I dig this guy. He could just be a cool army mold or army-style build Star Force guy if somebody wanted to army build Star Force. So good luck with army building Star Force, guys, because this would be a cool dude for it. And then our last figure. Probably one of the cooler figures I've seen. And we did get an accessory with this fig. We got a Flurkin. And for those of you who don't know what a Flurkin is, we don't know if they're going to be called Flurkin in the movie, but we do know that in the comics, Carol has, and she still got some rubber bands on. Oh, one of them fell off there. Carol has a pet cat, and in the comics, the cat's name is Chewie. Looks like they're going to call this cat Goose as a tribute to Top Gun, which is fine. I don't mind a name change. But there's our cute little kitty. And the kitty is a Flurkin. It is actually an alien race Rocket discovers, Rocket Raccoon, that can create pocket dimensions. So that's super cool. And the figure that comes with that cool Flurkin is Carol in a bomber jacket. So this is a really cool fig. She, again, not a whole lot of, no head options, so she's not going to be in bomber jacket with the helmet on. But we didn't get hand options because she's kind of built to hold the cat. But the thing I do like about this figure is the bomber jacket a lot. So the deets on the bomber jacket, if you guys can see, are really good. The paint's really nice. Let's see if I can describe it to you guys a little bit. There's an eagle, looks like eagle wings and a star on the back there, as well as an airplane, like a B-52 bomber underneath. This is a really classic bomber jacket. I dig it. I kind of wish they would have done a little bit of paint, maybe a different color on the neck there. But otherwise, this is a really cool looking fig. She's got hip pivot, standard female buck, so we've got hips or ab swivel, not necessarily ab crunch. This jacket also looks like it comes off, similar to like Wolverine and those figs, but the arms, as you guys know, are going to be painted brown, and this is going to be molded on, not an actual jacket. So if you wanted to swap this out or take the bomber jacket off and put it on a different figure, you could. This is a good figure for customizers. Things I don't like about this fig, head mold. I'm not even going to lie. I hate that head mold. It looks terrible. It doesn't look anything like Brie. Somebody should have gone back to the drawing board when they made this head mold. Brie's kind of cute. This looks terrible. Like, cheekbones are too high. Doesn't look like, or at least make her look like Carol from the comics. Like, this isn't even close. I've seen some other comments about this head mold that are not very kind. But I do agree with the sentiment that the head mold is terrible. Yeah, not my favorite. But we've got articulation on the head's going to be pretty standard, so you can swap it out if you want. We've got the up and down hinge, as it's going to be a ball and socket. It's going to fit pretty nice and swivel. Leg articulation, thigh pivot, cool. Double hinge knee. And then no shin pivot on this figure. And then we've got ankles pivot, which is nice. And then foot pivot, which is cool. Standard Marvel Legends shoulders. Double hinged elbow. Yeah, pretty standard fig, guys. This isn't, I feel like this is a figure they made not to be necessarily stood in a dynamic pose. This isn't a figure you pose flying or anything like that. This is a figure you pick holding the cat. Like, that's what this figure does. It sits on a shelf and it looks pretty and holds a cat, which is why I'm not a huge fan of the MCU figs. But I do like Captain Marvel a lot, and I dig the Flurkin. I gotta find Nick Fury, because there's a Nick Fury with a Flurkin, and the Flurkin is handcuffs, and it's being held, and it's kind of adorable. I want to see that. Also, a plot spoiler in the movie for those of you that... Spoiler alert. Anyway, so that's the figures that we're taking a look at today, guys. Thank you for watching. Like I said, make sure you enter the contest. Real quick, we will take a look at the Build-A-Figure, which is, like I said, incomplete. We're just missing that Nick Fury. So there is our Kree Sentry. He is very close to being finished. We're digging the paint on him. He's almost, I'm digging him because he looks kind of like a mini Sentinel. But yeah, so as soon as we get him done, guys, we'll do a cool review of him. Like I said, guys, enter the contest for the free 10-inch T-Rex giveaway. We'll be doing the drawing on Sunday, live, here on Action Figure Breakdown. And then I think I'm going to be doing a poll pretty soon on the Facebook page where we talk about, I'm going to ask you guys, and I'll ask you guys right now, do you guys want a specific day of the week for these episodes to come out? I'm going to be slowing down a little bit since we're in the slow season and at work, and funds are just getting tight because it's February and the month is shorter. So we're going to be buying a few less figs, doing a few less episodes, but I'd like to still do one a week. So my question to you guys is would you guys like a Thursday or Saturday or Sunday as episode day? We'll put the poll up on Facebook and on our Instagram. feel free to participate and let me know what day of the week you guys would like the episode to be regularly shown, and we'll get to it. So thank you guys for watching Action Figure Breakdown. We'll see you guys episode 16. Hopefully that'll be our next episode. It'll be the live drawing. And we'll have hopefully I'll have a Nick Fury to show you guys. But until then, guys, keep breaking them down.